Do you know, I haven't moved out of this armchair since 1973. Yeah, nearly 4 decades now. Yeah, it really, it changes a man sitting down for 38 years without having no kind of disability or nothing. Just sitting. But I don't regret my decision at all. I mean, like lots of people. No, actually, everyone I ever met since 1973. The postman, the gas man, the electric man, and the old lady upstairs with no head. They all want to know why I am just sitting here. But, none of them really understand. I mean, I never explain myself to no one, cause they won't understand. Yeah. If you learn just one thing in sitting down for 38 years, it's that no one will ever understand why. So, this is where I shall continue to be forever and ever. Amen. Old Mrs. d'Urberville, who brings me tea, she don't know why either. There's this tacit understanding between us, like she don't ask and I don't say, like a man hunting a tiger, except that she brings me tea and I sit down. Perhaps I've been thinking a bit too much. Well, I've had a lot of time on my hands, what with not having to do nothing and all. But I'm not harming no one. So, it's my human right to sit here all my life if I want to. Now, you've got to excuse me, because I'm feeling a bit tired, so I'm going to have a bit of a nap. You see, I find I get more tired from not doing nothing, so I've started living the bulk of my life unconsciously, asleep like. Asleep. Oh, do you mind? Just pull up one of them armchairs. Yeah, that one over there by the window. Come on. Take the weight off your feet.
Welcome to the 3 voicemail service. You have 1 new voice message. New voice messages. Message received today at 13:09 hours.
Hello, mate. It's me. Just calling about Saturday. Just wanted to say that I ain't going to be able to make it because, I've got some things I need to do around the house and stuff, and then later the boys are coming around for the Champions League semis. Yeah, we're going to get some beers and another barbecue. Shame you won't be there. Used to enjoy those sessions together. Anyway, we all did a whip round at work to send some flowers to your wife because, she must be mortified and everything. I mean, that was horrible. Imagine getting murdered for a mobile phone. Them kids don't have no remorse or nothing. You can see it in their fucking eyes, mate. There's nothing there. Then the fucking papers went and blamed on that new film, didn't they? That's bollocks, that is. It's a load of fucking bollocks. I always said it, mate. Kids today. And you should know better than walk through the fucking estate at night on your own. Well, I hope you have a nice deal on Saturday anyway, and hope your old dear can keep her eyes off that brother of yours. I mean, she'll need comforting and everything.
As a video artist, I generally take an unselective, semi-arbitrary approach to aesthetics. Generally, I allow the first impulse or sensation to dictate where I point my camera without subjecting my selection to undue critical process. I think there's a tendency with many artists, and let me preface this point by saying now that this is a very respected, canonized tradition, although one which personally I don't get along with, whereby a rigorous process of selection determines which images are eventually presented on screen, and which involve copious amounts of critical thought. Now, it's the area of the copious amounts of critical thought which is not terribly efficacious to me. Personally, I find that too much thought tends to kill off my impulse to do things, and it's proved more productive for me to operate in a more reactive environment, whereby the content of the videos comes more or less directly from my sensations, and always before my critical faculties begin to disrupt that reactive system. Now, I didn't always think or work like this. In fact, I used to work under the most rigorous critical conditions that I was able to impose, and I guess that method was very much prevalent during my education. But after a very protracted period of extreme depression, inactivity, and self-destructive criticism, I came to see that my impulses were in fact being discharged in thinking about doing something and not in actually doing it. And incidentally, the acting metaphor came into prominence in my work after I abandoned these counterproductive critical methods. I came to see retrospectively that the vast proportion of my thinking had in fact been arbitrary and completely beside the whole point. And this curious reversal of position away from that very reverent tradition of a highly intelligible aesthetics, which I came to see as being itself quite arbitrary, gave rise itself to a semi-arbitrary aesthetics, which felt more direct less distracted, and more in tune with my creative concerns. Naturally, I have received a great deal of hostile criticism for this approach, and of course it's entirely logical to receive criticism for uncritical methods, because that's been the main privilege of reason in our culture since Socrates, mainly by artists defending their own inclinations in our shared field of activity. Now, I'm not going to take this as an opportunity to defend my position, because I think that defending my position would again be beside the whole point of my activity as an artist. Moving on swiftly, because if I linger on this point, I might be tempted to defend a position I don't really feel the need to establish. I'd like instead to talk about my selection of image for this video you are seeing now, or not seeing, as the case may be. It so happened that when I set this interview up to be recorded, I forgot to take the lens cap off the camera. That is the sole and whole point of my work. When you go through the estate at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you can't hear nothing but the echo of your own feet to keep you company, and there ain't no one around, and there's so much concrete everywhere, isolating all the familiar sounds of the city. It feels a bit like the rest of the world that disappeared, and like any sort of behaviour is possible now, because there's no one about to stop you doing nothing. Between a row of boarded up bungalows, you see one of them groups of blokes in what used to be someone's garden, and they're doing something to a dog, and laughing the way men laugh when they can't be seen by no one, or when people are too afraid to look in case they get seen looking. So I move quicker, but the joint in my artificial knee is squeaking, and I worry I'm gonna attract attention, and also so I speed up through the lobbies and the elevator shafts, past the garage with an open fire in it, and there's this group of women in a childbirth ceremony. I can hear a siren far away, but they don't come here since the last invasion. And the colour's been drained out of everything. Some kids up on a rooftop, dressed in bits of old uniform, laying traps to catch pigeons. And now it's raining, Another fire in a window. Must be some people living there. But what kind of people, I don't want to know. Too much of all this just comes out of movies. Every street corner's a trap. Every sound is a fear. It is, I believe, something of a significant point, and one which I particularly believe to be worthy of consideration, that we should not separate our ideas, in the sense of the Kantian pure idea, or object of pure reason, from the circumstances under which ideas arise. For example, idea is a condition of place. In one sense, a social place permits particular ideas their expression. For example, if we were to consider social standing or class to be a condition of the dramatis personae of history, then it becomes, according to Marx, part of the social responsibility of my person, to which my class subscribes me. I become an actor of history on the social stage, if you like. My ideas in that sense are therefore the result of my social position. On the other hand, in terms of physical space, the multitude of sensations and memories associated with place determine who I am. For instance, if I walk down a gloomy back passage at night, my fear is a result of association and not of direct physical confrontation. Also, as a sort of variation on this theme, the things I say are again elicited by my social and physical place. Am I giving a lecture on sociology because I am created in this role through my social position, my education, because I identify particularly with the name sociologist, and so on and so forth, or because I happen to be standing at this podium in this lecture theatre? To round things off for this week, and I apologise if we have run short of time, trying to cover so much interesting ground, what I would like to suggest, in a playful kind of way, is to experiment with the effect which place has on our understanding of self. Walk around the city and discover its social geography and the effects of association on memory. Watch the routes you take to move around, which places you seek out and which you avoid. And likewise watch people as social actors in social situations. Yeah, funny bloke he was. There was this deep crease running right through the middle of his forehead. You know, like big enough to put your little finger inside. I don't know if it was a scar or something, or if it was because he was always frowning, like he was permanently worried about something. But it had this big bit of fluff inside. It's weird, because when you passed him on the stairs and said hello, you just couldn't take your eyes off it. All you could think about was blowing a bit of fluff out. It always reminded me of some dark corner in a closet or something. Anyway, I think that fluff must have been giving him hay fever, because his eyes were always red with crying. Maybe he was sad because people used to look deep into his crease instead of his eyes. Everyone got lost in that crease. Well, come to think of it, I don't think I even knew what his name was. It wasn't important because everyone knew you meant when you described the crease and the fluffy bit. It put this image right in your head. I suppose if he ever stopped worrying and relaxed his facial muscles, the bit of fluff would have fallen out. Anyway, he was the janitor here for years, since my mother's time, God rest her soul. You never saw him much though, but you knew he must have been watching. Everything was so spotlessly clean, you see. Suppose it's ironic, really. Not even the smallest bit of fluff escaped his notice. He had this little closet under the staircase where he lived. If you knocked on the door, you know, to ask for something, he wouldn't answer. Suppose he didn't want no one to see his room. Couldn't have been much room in there, really, what with his tools and things. Kids upstairs was always trying to get in, you know, the way kids do. Or they tried following him about to see what he was doing, because no one ever actually saw what he did. Very quick he was. Quick to get back in the closet. Very sensitive to noise. But you knew that he was there, because when you opened the front door, you could just catch the closet door closing at the same time, like them two doors was connected by a bit of string. Well, one day I found this letter with a name on it I didn't recognise. Foreign or something, I suppose. I could tell it was from the landlord though, because of the handwriting. Now, I don't know why, but I got really curious about the contents of that letter and this mystery inhabitant. So, well, quite without thinking, I stole the letter. Well, anyway, I took it out to my room and steamed it open. I'll read it to you, shall I? I made a copy. Here it is. I'll just put my glasses on. Let's see now. Dear Mr. I won't try and pronounce it. I won't be needing you no more, see? You worked here good, and I never got no complaints, and I never paid you nothing neither, right? But all the same, I want my closet back, see? So I can rent it as self-storage space to whatever bloke's gonna offer me most for it. So you get yourself gone out of my property by Thursday, right? And don't let me hear from you no more. Your servant, Mr. Landlord. Well, I sealed up the letter again and pushed it halfway under the closet door. As I was walking away behind me, I could hear the letter being slowly pulled under the door. It felt really weird. Well, next morning, when I was going down the shop to get me baccy, I noticed the closet door was ajar. So I opened it. Well, there weren't no trace, no one ever lived there. All that was left of that old man, sitting in the middle of the floor of that pathetic closet, was a bit of fluff. Well, the other day I was hanging around the King's Road, just standing there and looking at people, as you do, and not really thinking about nothing, which is that's a sort of a pastime of mine, not really thinking about nothing, just standing at the junction and watching the cars and taxis and the buses and the people and all that sort of thing. And I really just I couldn't describe my feelings at that moment. When you feel a feeling you ain't never had before, a completely new one that you get all apprehensive about giving a name to, just in case you get it all wrong, like an epiphany or something. But not an epiphany, because the feeling I had was definitely irreligious. And I was just standing there, yawning and minding my own business, not harming no one or nothing, just watching all the traffic going to and fro, and feeling this unusual feeling, what I didn't have a name for. When suddenly, out of the blue, I shouted right at the top of my voice, unconsciously, something, some kind of weird noise or tone, or like a yawn or a sneeze, but or whatever the fuck it was. everyone, they stopped and they stared. Even all the cars and the taxis and the buses and the tarmac and lampposts and everything all stopped and looked at me. But they wasn't looking at me. It couldn't have been, because it couldn't have been me who said it. Well, when I got my wits back, I felt really dizzy and spinning around, and I felt embarrassed about something I was hardly conscious of. Like it was the first bud on some strange bloom in my head. And I sort of staggered around the back streets behind Westminster Cathedral, sort of crying and making these weird little grunting noises, without any kind of clue about what I was doing. But then I remembered myself, and I decided to go and hide in the pub for a couple of hours and blow off some steam. I mean, it must have been stress or something, because it didn't make no sense. Like, I never acted like that before, but I don't know if it was an act or whose voice it was. It was confusing. But whilst I'm in this pub, right, the Great Bowl of Shit, I think it's called, this tone starts to creep back in my head again, doesn't it? I mean, at first it's just this hazy kind of rash itching away at the back of my mind. But just when I'm trying to ignore it, somehow it suddenly swells up out of all proportion, like a crazy balloon. Like my denying it exists just it makes it grow bigger or something, because it turns into this impulse that's so passionate and so ripe. All it wants is to be discharged. And and then my head starts swimming about, and I starts having this vision, right? This hallucination about myself, and I can see that I have, during the course of my life, done nothing but try and make myself and other people fucking happy. Like, every other feeling's illegal. Or if you're not fucking happy all the time, then you're fucking sick or something. Like, I'm some sort of fucking robot programmed only to do good things, or something like that. And all I really done is make this horrible reservoir of awfulness, this fucking great deficit of misery and pain, and now I just can't contain it any longer, and it's knocking on the door of my mind like it was a bloody destiny or something. And And so I gets to my feet, picks them up off the floor, one by one, slowly slithers out of the pub in some sort of crazy locomotion, and my feet takes me up the road and into the cathedral, and I don't know why, but I goes into one of them pew things and starts praying really hard, you know, like when you're wishing for something good to happen, only I was wishing something awful. It's a bit hard for me to say it now. Like I was praying for my whole body to get smashed into bits, ripped and torn apart and flayed alive and hideously murdered and raped and tortured and ground up into some awful paste or something, and I pray and pray as earnestly as I can, and I must have been speaking to myself aloud, because now everyone in the afternoon haze of the cathedral, they're all looking at me, whispering to each other about this bloke who's asking God to smash him into bits. And then I laugh out loud because I know, somehow I just instinctively know, there's no fate, there's no God, there's no nothing, just nothing, just this awful, yawning, abysmal, completely incidental world, and I'm praying just to spite my own stupid self and laugh at all the others. And then this muscular reflex makes me stand up, takes me into the gift shop and makes me pay £5 to go up the bell tower, and I get in a lift with this girl who's all smiles and says it's 210 feet up, and I smile at her, and when the door opens I can feel the wind, and I goes over and I looks over at St Paul's, the All-Scar Parade, the St James's Park, Buckingham Palace, and then I feel empty, so I just chucks myself over the balcony. Plunging into the pavement, the impact sending brains, organs, bone, ligaments, bile, stomach and bits of shit all splattering over the piazza, and I was killed instantly